CBS 46 News presents Public Affairs on Peach.
Are you trying to slim down for summer or just about 10 pounds away from your ideal body weight? Well, if you're looking for some help shedding a few pounds, we have just the help you need. Hey, good morning to you and welcome to Public Affairs on Peach. I'm your host, Adam Murphy. We are getting some expert advice today on how to take off the weight just in time for summer. Certified weight loss and lifestyle coach, Kwavi, wait for it, Agbe, did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Is here on the program today. She's going to talk about the good, the bad, and fattening. Tell us a little bit about what we need to know as far as shedding those pounds.
Thank you, Adam. There are so many different ways, but the first thing I really want to talk about today is eating only when you're hungry. That is the key to getting to your ideal healthy weight. Because a lot of us eat when we're not really hungry. And it sounds really simple, but once you eat only when you're hungry, you'll be able to maintain your ideal weight.
So are you telling me, like, if you have dinner and then, you know, right before bedtime, you feel a little bit of hunger again, later that evening, you should just say no?
Actually, no. What I actually recommend is eating about 5 to 6 times a day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they're just smaller meals, so that's the difference.
Okay.
So you just get that full, you feel like you're full a little bit, and that's it, and you stop right there. And sometimes we get to the point where we have a nice plate in front of us, and we have all this food, and we're eating, and we're like, oh, it tastes so good. But our bodies are telling you, we get those signals from our body telling us we're full, but we're like, oh no, I don't want to waste it. And then we go ahead and eat it, and then those are the times I'm talking about. You know, but you're like, I'll eat it anyway.
Yeah.
So
I
it
can
makes
imagine.
a difference.
Yeah.
And over time, that's the thing, over time it makes a big difference.
Overeating, I can
Yes.
imagine, an
Yes.
issue for a lot of us because it's such a pleasure. I mean, it's entertainment. It's fun for us to do.
Yeah, but see, that's the other thing too. You don't want to use food as entertainment. You don't want to use food for fun. And even when you do that, you have to do it for like maybe 5% of the time. But for when you get over time, if you do that on a regular basis, that's when you can get to being overweight or obese.
Now, one of the things that we all run into are obstacles when we try to
Correct.
do this, because there's
Yes.
several ways you can try to lose weight, and,
Yes.
and a lot of people try, they get frustrated, and
Correct.
so tell me a little bit about some of the obstacles that you believe we face each time we try to get down to that ideal weight.
Yeah. Well, the first one I talked about was the eating when you're hungry.
Okay.
And stopping when you're full. That's one thing I always tell my clients. Trying to get to understand their bodies well enough where they know when they're full and they know when they're, satisfied. The next area is counting calories. And I know we've been told it's really good to count calories, but we have to be careful and sensible about the calories that we count. I'll give you an example. They now have these snacks like Cheetos and all these different snacks, and they have them in 100-calorie packs. Now, that's 100 calories. A banana is 100 calories, but they're not the same. When they get into your body, they do completely different things. So I always tell people, be very careful about the calories you count, because you can get into that mode of,
see.
oh, I'm just counting calories. Oh, yeah, it's not just about the calorie. It's sensibly. You have to be sensible about the calories that you count.
Right,
And
making
that's
better
important.
choices
Yes,
too. If you're going to
yeah.
use those calories, use them on something
Yeah.
like fresh fruit
Right.
as opposed to Cheetos.
Right, exactly. But some people do that. Or, I've had clients that will say, okay, I've eaten all of these healthy foods and I'm going to use all these for my dessert. I'm like, but that's not the way it works. You're not going to, eat just a few calories for the, most of the day, and then you use 600 calories for your dessert. That's not the way it works.
How did you figure all of this out and become sort of an expert in this area?
Well, I can say I stumbled upon it. I was in college in the UK, and I was flipping channels, and I came across a documentary about cattle. And I thought, okay, this sounds interesting. And it was about the conditions in which cattle are being raised. And the conditions were deplorable. And after watching that, I made a decision right there and then I was going to stop eating meat. When I did that, I thought, okay, I'll stop eating meat. Let me investigate other things. Like, what other foods are we eating that's affecting our bodies? What can I do? And that's how I went on this journey.
Wow.
I started looking at, white rice, not really that good for you, white bread, all the different additives and preservatives they would put into food. So I said, I'm not going to do this anymore. Let me change my diet. And it was amazing the way I felt. I felt so different. It wasn't really about the weight that I lost. It was about the way I felt. And then I decided, okay, I was in college at the time, so I was like, okay, you know, I'm in college, I'll just do this as a thing for myself. But then I had friends that would ask me, what are you doing? You look different. And I'll tell them, and I'll give them little meal plans, and it would work for them. But I was, you know, I already had a career in information technology, so it wasn't really my path. And then while doing my master's at Northwestern, I had a project on obesity. And it was so fascinating to me. The research they had done and just little tweaks that people could make that could affect their whole outcome. Because when you have obesity, it can affect your whole life and the way you operate in the world. And I thought, you know what, this is something I really want to get into. So I went ahead and joined Well Coaches Corporation, took classes with them and became a health coach. But I still felt I wanted to focus on weight loss. So I did some research and I found a school called the Life Coach School, and that is what they specialize in. So I took classes there, became certified, and now I'm a certified weight loss coach.
Fantastic. And I have, you have some things here that you want to talk about. What are we looking at here?
Okay, well, this is another obstacle to losing weight, which is planning and preparing when you're on the run.
Okay.
We're always rushing from one place to another.
Yes.
So if we prepare ahead of time, that can help us. So I have 2 bags here. This is just some nuts, plain old nuts. And then I also have this one, which has nuts and some colorful items in it also.
Okay.
Now, the difference is sometimes people say, oh, get some nuts. The important thing is when you choose nuts, try and choose nuts that don't have any salt or any sugar or any honey, because now you have honey roasted, you have all these different items. You want to pick nuts that just have nothing in them.
Okay.
Now with this item, even though it has nuts, it also has, I think it has some M&Ms and some, you know, some other, I think some chocolate items in it too. The key is when you're on the run, pick items that are going to fuel your body and not make you feel, you know, like you're dragging and bloated. So you want to choose
stay away from
this.
like the M&Ms that sometimes they mix in with this stuff.
With salt and with the nuts.
So no salt. Stick with
stick with just the plain nuts. Yeah, stick with the nuts plain by themselves. And then we also have a lot of, in here we have granola bars, protein bars. These can be okay, but when you take them over time, they're not really good for you. Most of them have a lot of sugar. They have a lot of additives and preservatives. So if you're going to take these, very rarely, these are not the things you want to take every day on the run. Not a good idea. Take fresh items like...
I got a problem here.
Tell me.
This was breakfast pretty much every morning. Okay, I got to rethink things here.
Yeah, rethink. And also, too, the other thing I try to educate, when I speak to my clients, is educate them. What is on the label? Read the label.
Right.
How many items? If they're up to like 5, 6, 7, then yeah, we might want to abstain from them or in moderation.
Okay.
And then we can go with things like grape tomatoes.
Yes, I love those.
They're quick, you know, they go, you know, they taste nice, you know, put them in a little bag. And I always tell my clients, you can overeat on healthy foods, so package them. Yeah, so, you know, measure them.
You can overeat on healthy foods.
Yes, you can.
Yes.
So it's always a great idea to measure them ahead of time, because if you don't, you can end up eating the whole pack and not even realize it.
Kwavi, this is all really good stuff. We've got much more from you throughout the half hour, so stay with us. And when we come back, Kwavi and I are heading over here into the kitchen to talk about healthy eating and weight loss. Don't want to miss it. Come back right after this break on Public Affairs on Peach.